What is going on, YouTube? I have kind of a different video for you guys today. I got a tips and tricks video for you today. I would say about 5 tips that you guys absolutely need to know if you're either new at this game or even someone who's been playing the game for a while and you just some things you might not know about. I have a bunch of these kind of in mind that I want to make, so we're going to kind of kick this one off. We're due by 5 now, and then I'll kind of feel it out how much I want to do in the next one. If you guys like these kind of videos, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help me out a lot. And to kind of kick off this list, we're going to kind of go into always make sure you quick save would be probably my #1 tip for you guys. Super easy. Go into your system settings, just quick save it. Brings you right back to the game immediately after. That way, if you're out exploring the world, something dangerous happens, you can immediately quick save. I'm going to kill that deer. What's in here? You always have a way to... Your progress is never lost. I can't tell you how many times I've traveled halfway across the map, fell off a mountain, and died, and my last quick save was before I even started the journey. And you lose all that progress. Super important that you guys quick save often, especially when venturing far. I know a lot of places in this game that you have to kind of travel far for them in order to actually get to them. So I always recommend fast traveling, or not fast traveling, quick saving throughout your journey. What the fuck? Man, this ain't no Madison Let's Play. Why am I getting jump scared? As anyways, we're gonna end that kind of tip off here. Like I said, always quick save. Xbox and PlayStation should be the same. Pause menu, hit quick save. I know PC there's a toggle for it. I don't remember. I've been playing Skyrim with a controller even on PC since basically I re-downloaded this game, so unfortunately I don't remember it. But anyway, we're going to move on to the next tip. Alrighty guys, for the next tip, one thing I want to go into with you guys, super important, is make sure you guys favorite your weapons, favorite your gear, or really just favorite anything. I'm personally a one-handed sword as well as a bow user, so I have my bow favorited. You can do it just by hitting Y. You can also unfavorite it that way, or triangle if you're PlayStation. I think it's F if you're PC. Favorite all your arrow types, favorite your sword. I had to unequip the sword just so you can see it, and then for console it's just the D-pad, and you can access your favorite menu. I don't remember what it is on PC, unfortunately. Kind of go through, and from here you can either equip your bow or put your sword in your right hand. Maybe you don't want your healing spell in your left hand for whatever reason. Obviously, say your head. It works just like your inventory menu. Super easy. It's super helpful if you're middle of a tough fight and you're shooting your bow for a while and then they get too close. You can just switch to your sword right in the middle of combat without having to go all the way through your inventory menu and kind of like reselect things. Or if you want to change your arrow type, it puts everything in kind of a condensed little menu. That way you can just switch your gear like on the fly. It's especially hard for like archer characters. You may have a bunch of different arrow types. You might be fighting something really tough. You want to use the strongest arrow, so you want to be able to quickly pull up your arrow, like just be able to quickly switch to your strongest arrows, which for me is the ebony arrows. So I would always say making sure you favorite your gear is probably one of the most important things that you can do in this game. We're going to kind of end that tip off and move on to the next one. Alrighty, to begin the next tip, one of the most important ones in my opinion, sort of know your skills up front. I know obviously if you're brand new to the game, which I'm sure there's not too many people that are brand new to the game, but just in case you are, I would say pick at least 2 to 3 skill types that you would want to kind of play around with in the game. If you're going to be a warrior build, I would say like pick your armor type. Whether you're going to be a warrior build with light armor, warrior build with heavy armor, pick like your primary weapon type, whether it be archery or one-handed or two-handed, and sort of stick with those skills. You don't really, like, especially like early on at least, you don't want to divvy out and focus on a lot of skills. Unless they're like passive skills like alchemy or enchanting, because that's different. Only because at that point you can practice those skills kind of independently. You don't want to focus on like a lot of different weapon-based skills. You want to use one-handed, block, two-handed, magic, it gets to a lot to manage, because then you're early in the game and you're allocating a lot of perks to a lot of different skill trees all at once, and you can't get those perks back. Once you put a perk in, say I've already put one into bows, once you put a perk into a skill tree, that's it. It's non-refundable. It stays there. So if you put a perk into one-handed and you decide, nah, I don't want to use one-handed, I want to switch back to two-handed, or I want to switch to destruction magic, all the perks that you've already put in one-handed, they're stuck there. They're not going anywhere. You don't get them back to put in a different skill tree. That's kind of it. I'm sure there's mods, obviously, to do that, where you can deselect perks and, you know, reallocate them. But in the vanilla game of Skyrim, unfortunately, that's just not how it works. So I would just say know your builds. I'm going to be creating some build guides here soon for each race, and what are some good classes to kind of play for each race. It's going to be something in probably the far future, just because they're going to take a long time to make. A lot of research I have to do on my own, and a lot of time figuring out how to actually make the videos. But anyway, to kind of conclude that one, we're going to move on to the next tip. For the next tip, guys, one that is kind of a weird one, have to say, but explore the world. I know a lot of people, when it comes to RPG games, not everybody obviously, but there's a decent amount of people that are of the mindset of like, go to where you need to go for your objective, and then go like fast travel back. Obviously, I'm not saying that every time you complete an objective, you have to manually sprint. Man, fuck off, you dirty rat. Oh, that's an ebony arrow. I'm just gonna walk away. Can't even get it back anyway. I'm not saying every time you complete an objective, you have to manually run back to where the objective is. Obviously, fast travel back. But when you're going to these places, like you're traveling, say like I have a quest, you know, in Morthal or whatever. Instead of taking a carriage to Morthal, try running there. You know, use the signs and, you know, travel there. You discover a lot of stuff on the way. A lot of times you fight a lot of cool enemies along the way, and you can discover more things and, you know, new dungeons that you may want to explore. That's just going to level and build your character to be stronger than it was before. I would say it's super, super important to, like, just to get to know the world of Skyrim. I don't want to say victim. I was definitely a habitual person who would only fast travel and discover locations specifically to use them to points to where, like, say I needed to go to Hamir's Rest, I would discover something like Green Spring Hollow or Veteran's Retreat specifically just to fast travel there, just to run there, and then I'll just fast travel back. Just discover places that are close to it and then run to my objective. And I would never really explore anything, because all I was doing is fast traveling somewhere close and then running to my objective and then leaving. So, like, I would have never even known this was here if I didn't explore. I literally don't think I've ever been here before. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. We'll explore this place in another instance. But we are sort of going to end this tip off here, and I will be moving on to the next tip. Alright guys, for the next tip, this is going to be like the last and final tip here. It's about looting. Obviously looting is a big part of this game. Lots of gear, lots of items, lots of stuff that can make you money, lots of useful stuff that you can pick up in the game. I would say be careful what you loot though. A lot of times what people will end up doing is they'll grab a bunch of shit. They'll see gear, they'll loot a skeleton and be like, oh wow, he's got an ancient Nord warhammer. It's worth 42 gold. That's a lot of gold. But look at that shit. It weighs 26 pounds. It weighs literally double what it's worth in weight. Or a little less than double, rather. I'm an idiot. But it's not worth enough money to warrant me picking it up because it weighs too much. It's going to take up so much inventory space. Me looting that, I'm not going to make enough money off that to even warrant picking it up. I don't know where that is. That shield on this skeleton? This is something that's worth it to grab. I say about 5 gold for every pound that something weighs is worth it to grab. So this weighs 12, it's worth 60. That's literally exactly 5 gold for every pound that it weighs. I say this is the best way to do it only because it's a good ratio of how much it weighs and takes up in your inventory to how much it's worth. This shield is worth literally more money than that big ass warhammer and weighs way less the amount of pounds. It weighs way less. So it bogs you down less to pick it up, and it's worth more money. Honestly, Ancient Nord weapons aren't worth anything anyway because they're basically they're near rubble. They're basically broken swords. They're basically regular steel swords that have been sitting in a crypt for years, thousands of years. I would avoid picking up any Ancient Nord gear in particular. If you're not going to be an alchemist, I say pick up alchemical ingredients all day long. They are worth a lot of times a lot of money, and they weigh almost nothing. They weigh like 5 to 10. They cost 5 to 10 gold. You can sell them to your shopkeeper, and they weigh like not even a pound. They usually weigh like 0.1. Like Nightshade, I think, is worth 8 gold a pop, and only weighs 0.1. Similar thing with like Bleeding Crowns. They're worth 10 gold, and they only weigh 0.3 pounds. So your cost for picking them up versus what you get paid out in gold is way worth the ratio. Something like fire salts I keep mostly because a lot of people like them for quests, so I hold on to stuff like that until I've given them all away for quests. Yeah, go back to sleep. I froze that motherfucker in time for a second there. Oh, right when I was talking about don't pick up Ancient Nord stuff. Hell yeah, master level lock, got that. There's not really shit in there. Anyway, guys, if you guys liked what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help out a lot. I'll be making more of these tips and tricks videos throughout time. I have a bunch that I have kind of like written on a list, and I'll kind of be covering them over them. No particular order, just kind of covering them, you know, each video, just covering different ones. Whatever kind of applies to the video. There's one on the list, which is marriage. It was supposed to be in the recording, but it was supposed to make it on this list, but unfortunately, my OBS recording got corrupted upon giving a full tutorial of marriage and why it's useful and why it's useful to do early to make a lot of money. So I didn't have an autosave that was before I got married, so I literally had to just use different tips and tricks that are still useful, but unfortunately I wasn't able to cover that. But in the Let's Play series, I will have an episode dedicated to getting married, and it will kind of serve as that tips and tricks. Obviously, there's going to be more content in it aside from me just getting married in the game, but I'll kind of go into that tip in better detail in one of these Let's Play videos coming up whenever I decide to do it. But if you guys like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will see you in the next video.